Hey, Eric, did you know that people who enjoy this podcast can support us on Patreon?
Yes.
Oh, well, if they'd like to, they can go to patreon.com/retroam to find out more. Now, would you like to hear some hot sounds that I have recorded? Welcome to Retrograde Amnesia, a comprehensive podcast about Xenogears. On this podcast, we will attempt to blend our youthful hopefulness with the adult angst that drove us to make a podcast about a game that we weren't sure was our favorite video game, but maybe is our favorite video game. Maybe. My name's Chris. I'm joined tonight by my friend Eric. Yes. Hi, Eric. Let's talk about Xenogears.
You didn't let me talk. You have to establish my voice to our listeners that I'm a different person than you. You're not talking to yourself.
We're all of one mind here. Do you have any egregious corrections from the last podcast that we recorded 5 minutes ago?
I do not yet. We'll learn about them later.
If you do have an egregious correction or oversight or anything of that nature, please reach out to us on Twitter at RetroAmnesiaPod. DMs are open.
So when we left last time...
Thanks for listening today.
Thank you for listening. Groff had just phased out on Miang.
He had phased out on Miang after having a very precarious, ominous, whateverous conversation
aboard
about
some Solarian ship.
We heard about vessels. We heard about chosen ones.
The Goliath just crashed into something. May have been the Yggdrasil. The Yggdrasil, by the way, is back. Bart is not dead. He's down onto his own tactics of hustling spaceships for money.
All the major players are back, right?
Everybody with a portrait is around. Except for Vandercom.
And Rink. Yeah, Vandercom's fucking dead. Rink, TBD. He's MIA.
Vandercom's really dead.
Yeah, Vandercom's especially dead.
So we cut to our second non-sequitur sequence for the Technosphere of this ministry of red and blue faces.
Oh no, it's them again.
Disobedience. Ramses' orders are to excavate the anima relics in Ignas, and to watch over the labs. What is he?
We can recover the anima relics anytime. Moreover, we learn that he was on the transport ship. Ramses was probably after him.
So it was the trauma.
Yea. In this case, Nigrit. It was the severe external wounds.
According to the memory cube, we found multiple subjects around him that possessed the animus factor.
Is it Sue Friday, the subject of the M project?
Yes.
Coincidence?
Nay, it is beyond that. They were either attracted to him or...
Unexpectedly, it's developing into the same condition as 500 years ago.
That does not rule out the possibility he planned it this way intentionally.
The transfer point is Aquavi. It's near the Thames.
If it is Aquavi, Krellin's headed that way.
Krell Ian himself. What for?
It seems they found it. For over 4,000 years he searched for Zekbo-Aim's legacy.
Legacy? Is that the technology he was talking about?
Cain.
Yes. Molecular engineering, nanotechnology, the land of all creations, the capital of Zeboan culture, resting beneath the ocean of Aquavi. For 19 years, the ethos kept it secret.
Is this acceptable, Cain?
Yes, it will do for now.
19 years. That coincides with the time when the Earth shifted.
Indeed. But I don't understand. That technology doesn't seem that crucial to us.
He is still a lamb. Giving him the ability to do as he wishes is questionable.
There are times when even we do not know what he is thinking.
Let it be. I will take the responsibility for that. On another matter, weren't you all going to eliminate it?
It's just by chance.
It is probable the location is Ignas.
Anyway, I never believed it would be eliminated so easily.
The purge was a failure. This shall never happen again.
If the animus are together, it is all the more reason.
Yes.
Cain, why are you so concerned about it? To us, is it significant?
It could only be a poison to us. It could never be a remedy.
Annabelle, you don't still believe that, do you?
That is merely an illusion, not even an ideal.
The result is what I am now. It is as you see it.
Or rather, is it the emotion you have long forgotten?
Cain, we are gods.
So that was something.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting that together, by the way.
No problem. I enjoy doing it. It takes a long time, but I hope, like, it has the AI voices and it doesn't really make any sense. But since it's AI people, we assume in there that the text to speech and the weird pronunciation, I think really works as a puppet show theater.
I think text to speech applications were made for this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially I have Scottish accents, UK accents. There's a Indian accent in there that time. I had fun making that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to unpack here. The first.
Oh yeah, they say some stuff.
Ramses was supposed to excavate the anima relics in Ignas. This is the second time we have heard about the anima relics. I think the first time was...
It was these guys. They mentioned
these guys, yeah. We don't know what an anima relic is. It's probably a gear, because we know that most things that are excavated are gears, are ancient.
Yeah,
you know?
Ethos is behind that stuff. They also mentioned something called Nigret. Someone says, was that the trauma that made Ramses do that? And they say, no, it was the Nigret. It was the severe external wounds, which is never mentioned again in this game. But I like, in my head canon is to think it's a reference to Negredo from Xenosaga.
Negredo! Oh, okay.
So again, probably not, probably just a weird localization thing, but it kind of sounds like that word. So that's how we're going to connect that stuff.
I think they also imply that one of Ramses' other jobs was to watch over the lamb or lambs. Maybe I wrote it down wrong.
It's a possibility.
And they also say he was on the transferred ship, which I'm guessing that's the Goliath, maybe?
Yeah, the Goliath apparently was more important than we thought.
Yeah.
They also mentioned something called the M Project, talk about memory cubes again.
Yeah.
They found multiple subjects around him that possessed the animus factor. So maybe animus and animas are people instead of things.
I think we know that animus is a Greek term for maybe spirit,
yeah,
or
life,
something of that nature.
Like
yeah,
that.
I think we've previously consulted the FakeNet on this topic.
Initializing FakeNet.
Animus can mean hostility or ill feeling, but it's probably being used as Carl Jung's term for the masculine part of a woman's personality. Anima, on the other hand, is Jung's term for the feminine part of a man's personality. In Latin, anima means a current of air, wind, air, breath, the vital principle, life. Soul. It's likely Xenogears blended Jung's terms with the Latin origins.
And so, if him is Fei, and there are other people around him that possess this animus factor, that means that Fei's friends, specifically Fei's associated party members, are also special type people.
Yeah, Fei's only friends with portrait characters.
Apparently, yes. So you have to have a portrait to have an animus factor, apparently. So that's strange, too, because to this point, we only know explicitly that Fei is important. And we kind of assume that Elly is important. I don't know if we really know that. It's not in the text.
A painting of them from 500 years ago.
Yeah, we get that inference based on the Sophia thing. Now we maybe know that Rico, Citan, and Bart are also important at a spiritual or genetic level or something. Not sure. That's a new train of thought, I think.
Yeah, it makes us think that there's people that are important other than us, which is great to think you're not living in an AI simulation, ironically.
The line, you mentioned the M Project a second ago. They say, is the Sufrati the subject of the M Project? I have no idea what that means.
I don't know what that is either. Like, in my head, these guys all just gossip about stuff that's happening while dropping references to terminology that hasn't mattered for 500 years. That we're not supposed to understand?
Yeah, they say unexpectedly it's developing into the same condition as 500 years ago.
Yeah.
And when I transcribed that, when I was taking my notes, in parentheses next to condition, I put scenario because that very much could have been translated as scenario.
It's the exact same thing.
In essence, they're saying that things are aligning in the same manner in which they were 500 years ago, which we know that 500 years ago something important happened.
Shit went down.
Yeah, shit went down. Nissan was founded. All that kind of stuff.
The painting was made.
Everything.
They say the transfer point is Akavi near the Thames, which I know it's Thames, but damn it, it's pronounced Thames. We're doing this right.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've seen that word. Thames.
Thames, Thames. I I think we need to discuss how that was translated because it's extremely awkward, but we'll get there when we get there, I think.
Sure. They also name drop Krellian next.
Yes. If it is Aquavi, Krellian's headed that way. That's the first time we've heard the word Krellian, also a name we need to expound upon at the proper time.
Yeah.
That goes pretty deep. Also, there's a mention of, one of them says, that does not rule out the possibility that he planned it this way intentionally. I don't know who he is yet, but I think I might know in a couple minutes.
Yeah. There's somebody else is going to come in.
For over 4,000 years, he searched for Zeboim's legacy. Zeboim.
Also a Hebrew word.
Also something we will dissect later when we get to that point, because we know that is expounded upon later. This is the first time we've heard a reference to a number of years greater than 500, I think.
4,000.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
And then
he's been searching for it for 4,000 years.
Yep.
They say legacy is that technology he was talking about. And then what happens? We get somebody else, the music kicks in and somebody else runs to the center of the ring.
Our boy, the ominous emperor, has appeared on the screen. He flashes on the LED screen in the background.
Yeah. He's no longer just emperor. He's got a name this time.
His name. Oh, what? His name is Cain.
Emperor Cain.
Emperor Cain. We've heard a mention of Cain before from these folks.
Yeah.
But we did not know that this was Cain.
It was that guy. This is the guy Citan talks to in the JPEG out of time room.
Yep. And guess what? Motherfuckers talking about nanotechnology.
Nanomachines, son.
Nanomachines, son.
Yes. We're talking about Zeboim. It's under the ocean. What else do we know that's under the ocean, Eric?
All of Fei's shit right now, man.
No.
Oh.
A slumbering god that was defeated by giants, according to the man in the cave.
Thanks, Ball. Right?
Yeah.
There's also some molecular engineering down there. The Ethos has apparently known about this for 19 years, but they've kept it secret.
19 is a weird number.
Yeah, 19's strange. How old's Fei? It's like 19, right?
He's 18, 19 years old, yeah.
Cool. So like this area, the geographic area we've never heard of before 5 minutes ago is suddenly of monumental importance to everybody on the planet who knows anything about anything.
Yeah.
And we just happen to be here.
My conjecture here is that a large seismic event shifted the Earth at some point because there's a bunch of things under the water like 19 years ago. I don't know what's under there, but maybe, just maybe, there's a slumbering god in the ocean or something.
Well, a few lines later, they say 19 years. That coincides with the time when the Earth shifted.
Yeah. So something's happening.
The tech under here, though, one of them says that shit doesn't concern them, which is kind of weird considering Cain thinks it's to be pretty important. And Cain, we assume, has a corporeal form, right? As opposed to these guys?
I mean, these guys have a corporeal form too. They're like the brain face things, but like, are they like preserved life forms from 500 years ago or whatever? Are they like the heads in Futurama?
I haven't seen Futurama.
Oh, shit.
Sorry.
Fuck. In Futurama, they preserve life by putting heads in jars.
Jesus. No, the way I see it, they are digitized in that technosphere and they're expressed through 1990s television technology.
Okay. I buy that. Totally.
And they are only 4 different red and blue characters due to limitations on the artist's time.
I guess so. They go on and talk about how the Purge was a failure. And somebody says something about the Animus being together now.
Yeah.
And I believe...
It sounds plural when they say that.
Yeah.
The Animus are together.
And we just talked about the anima factor or something a little bit ago?
Yeah.
Does that mean that like Fei and his friends are all together now? Because we did just accidentally talk about how all our friends are getting closer to congregating once again.
Yeah. Fei has to go gather some more friends first.
Yeah.
At some point, one of them says that it could be poison to them. It could never be a remedy.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
That's like a warning that maybe they shouldn't fuck with these powers right now. But someone else says that's merely an illusion, not even an idea. And then someone says that the result of that is what I am now. It is as you see it, which is ominous and kind of like a bad light. Like clearly these people are not in an ideal scenario if they're inside this technosphere.
I also have somebody says, to us, he is insignificant. And does that mean Fei is insignificant? Like, is he... I guess he must be because they wanted to purge him.
Yeah.
They must have a replacement for him or something.
Yeah.
If he's that important. Then they would.
Like maybe some experiment went bad and it skipped the wrong generation and got to Fei instead.
Yeah, it's strange. The final line? Are you ready for the final line?
It's so good.
Cain, we are gods. So this is not an explicitly "ye shall be as gods" moment, but it's close.
But it's we're gods. Like that's a definite reference to that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. They are getting ever closer to completing their scenario despite the recent failures of the Purge. And at that point, that's over with. Thank God that it's over with.
It's a lot.
Whenever those scenes pop up now, I feel like I need to go take a nap before I read them because we're trying to dissect them for this podcast. Like, whereas before you might just kind of mash through it and be like, okay, here's a bunch of ominous banter that we'll eventually be able to extrapolate once it is explicitly spelled out to me. But no, we can't do this.
You have to separate the ominous foreboding from the actual small relevant pieces of information that are in there.
It's true. And then when it fades up, we wake up and Elly is on like the base from Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, she's on some floating platform that I think it can't be a part of the Crash Goliath, right? It's like a perfectly square floating platform that their gears are somehow beneath. But she's asleep, and then Fei just pops up out of a trap door and tells Elly that she's awake.
Yeah.
Like, my dude, you just let your girlfriend out here sleep in the open air in the hot sun on this floating platform while you're downstairs jerking off? Like, what are you doing?
It's weird. Is it... Maybe it's like a giant like gear shipping container.
Oh yeah, maybe
they released it and escaped upon it.
Is it the gatekeeper container? Is that what they're sitting on?
Is the Veltal the gatekeeper?
Oh, good. Yeah, good question. It's a possibility.
I just now thought of that. I haven't thought too hard about it yet, though.
Faye says they only have 2 days worth of food. Thinks about fishing while Elly asks where everyone else is.
And everyone's okay, apparently.
Yeah, but Faye's like, no, just gotta find some food.
Yeah,
like he's very focused on the task at hand. I think is a coping mechanism for the great plane crash they've both just survived.
Yeah, like have you ever had like a parent or a grandparent who like wants to remind you that the weather's going to be bad, and they're like, oh, there's a storm coming. You need to make sure you're going to be safe, and they keep talking about the weather.
Dude, I still get phone calls when the weather's gonna be bad. Yeah,
that must be a generational thing.
Yeah,
I don't, but my wife does, and a lot of other people of our friends we've talked about where people of a certain generations are very concerned about the weather at all times.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just they're having a purpose. It's having a purpose, you know?
Yeah, they don't have Twitter to enrage them. They have to get mad at the thunderstorms.
So Fei apparently does that too. He's a boomer.
Yeah, Fei's really into weather. Well, the writer's a boomer technically, right? Although generations are different in Japan, especially considering...
Yeah, things are different there.
Yep.
Things are also different on the Yggdrasil.
Yeah, it flashes over to the Yggdrasil. And we do a lot of back and forth this time. Do we talk about this chapter's name?
This chapter is called Escape Ignis. There is no clear delineation of when the chapter starts, but it is called Escape Ignis, even though I'm not really sure what we're escaping at this point.
The translation guide is Head for a New Land.
Oh, well, I wonder what new land we're going to head for.
I wonder. So anyway, we're back to the Yggdrasil.
Yeah, and this is actually the first time you get to save and actually get to see what chapter you're on, so... But we're Citan, and we're with Rico and Hammer.
Yeah, we're Citan now, man.
Citan realizes that they have been rescued by Bart and his crew, and Rico's like, who the fuck is Bart and his crew?
Who do you think you're fucking with?
You're right, yeah. This is like all of our friends are meeting each other for the first time.
So...
Smelling butts.
So Citan starts to try to explain who Bart is, and like Rico is extremely down with Bart at this point.
Yeah, he's impressed with his dastardliness.
Yeah, he's like, he's a robber of this day and age and a man with an attitude. So Rico
sign me up.
Is in favor of Bart without meeting him.
If everyone was like doing some kind of real world Big Brother thing, do you think Rico and Bart would have bunk beds? Like stepbrother shit?
They would bro it out all the time. Remember way back when Fei and Bart had their first battle, I guess, against the giant white, the Calamity or whatever, and they won. And I think I picture in my mind that Bart wanted to fist bump with Gears and like bro it out and be like, "Yeah, dude." If that was Rico at that moment, then a bromance would have ensued at that point.
I feel like Rico can put him back, whereas Fei's kind of a straight edge.
Yeah, that's true. So then we get to walk around a little bit. And
oh God, who'd you talk to?
It feels nice to walk around now
because
it's been a while since we got to walk around. Period.
Yeah.
And second of all, it's nice to be back on the Yggdrasil.
Yeah, it feels like home. It's got that nice theme.
Even though I think we're gonna find this is actually a different ship.
It's the same thing,
but it's the same interior. You know,
same layout.
I wanted to go check on Choo Choo, but we're not allowed in there because that apparently is a room for ladies. So I can't find Margie. I can't find Choo Choo. I'm very worried about Margie and Choo Choo.
Did you talk to Old Mason to try to buy anything?
No.
Well, if you do, Mason says, quote, "My chronic lumbago has gotten worse since I hustled in Ave."
Oh, so is that when he brought the land crab in or whatever?
I guess. Is lumbargo a word? Consult the fake net.
Initializing fake net. Lumbargo is a noun meaning pain in the muscles and joints of the lower back.
Yes, thank you, fake net.
He also, my note on that is what, and then he won't sell us anything.
Yeah, well, okay.
So it's funny that Old Mason spent all of his old Mason money fixing up this room to educate Bart, and then the ship crashed or something, but presumably he just spent the rest of his money copying the exact same shit over into this room. Like, it is the exact same asset, so it's like, did they just pilfer him again? Does he have to work another 50 years in this shit?
I mean, the interiors in this game of the rooms and stuff are always very densely packed with things to look at. And it's really cool how they roll those assets out. I mean, you can think back like Bart's room in the pirate lair was pretty densely and interestingly decorated, and that was just a blip in this in this game.
Tina's bar had digitized girly assets.
It would have been nice if Mason's like long Downton Abbey table was now just like a slab of stone and like some
shit
and milk crates and shit.
He says it's reclaimed wood, but you're like, dude, that's an old boat. What are you doing?
It looked like it was like where Mason records his bootleg DIY podcast, like we are right now. It'd be great. Mason's podcast. I listened to that.
And the first thing that will happen to the audience is, of course, for the rest of the day, they will be completely ignored because you don't exist.
Is there a Michael Caine podcast? It could be.
Could be. So I went to the gear docks first, actually, and I went to go scope out all the gears and get the lowdown on all the gears because Citan's gear and Bart's gear, Rico's gear are all here. I think we talked about in the last episode that I got the lowdown on the Heimdall. We never talked about the etymology of the term Heimdall.
Is it Nordic?
Yes. Heimdall was the defender of Asgard. So if you watch any of the fucking Marvel movies, then you know that Idris Elba, is that his name?
DJ Juris.
What?
It's his DJ name.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a DJ?
Yeah, dude.
Stringer Bell
absolutely
defends Asgard. Let's just put it that way.
Is you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? What the fuck is you thinking, man?
But yeah, we learned that was excavated at the same time as Bart's gear. Many team members of Bart's crew were injured trying to learn how to control that fucking thing. And apparently Citan, they couldn't get it to work until Citan got in it.
Weird.
So,
a true Renaissance man, a man for all seasons.
Maybe he's just an animus. I also got the lowdown on the steer. The things on the bottom of his feet, like the treads.
The tank treads?
Yeah, they're called grind rollers.
Cool.
Yeah. This gear has the best endurance, and on the left arm there is an item called the drill claw that has the ability to tear through steel plates.
Both drill and claw.
Yes. The lowdown on the Brigadier, it has hover thrusters. Hover-thruster.
Yeah, if you notice it doesn't walk, it kind of does that hovering thing.
The eye patch and the feather were added at Bart's request.
Of course.
And the guy says, we didn't know what to do when the young master said, destroy one sensor and put an eye patch over it without weakening the ability to reconnoiter. Don't know what that...
Yeah, some kind of reconnaissance.
Sounds like a conjugation of reconnaissance, maybe?
Yeah.
Don't know. C. How about that there, Richard? Okay. Well, where else did you go before you progress the story on the Yggdrasil? Anywhere?
Well, on that gear dock, I talked to someone, but I think that's how you actually progress the story.
That's a little later, yeah.
Okay.
I went to the dorms, too. Did you go to the dorms?
Yeah, there's some... I looked for my Mary fan club dude, and he wasn't there.
No, not there.
His pictures were still there.
Did he die?
Maybe. I mean, that place is pretty empty. I assume they're all out, like, doing some repairs and shit.
Or they died. There's a woman there that says, have you met my stupid husband?
Oh, no, I didn't talk to her.
Yeah, she says, have you met my stupid husband? He's in the engine room, and that's kind of
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I didn't go follow up with him.
There's a dude from Kislev that recognizes Rico. And he's like, oh, are you the champ? He's like, oh, I'm the ex-champ. So it sucks.
Yeah, he has to admit that he's no longer the best.
I'm expendable.
Did you go to the doctor's office?
I did later.
Oh, okay.
But I'm pretty sure it's the exact same dial. Let you tell me what she said while I look up what she said later.
Okay. I didn't write down explicitly what she said, but she's very excited that Rico's here because she knows that he's the ex-battling champion, and he's very prone to having fresh wounds. So, to satisfy her need to see viscera and to treat it
on a demi-human too. I bet she's very excited. Yeah. That's different from what she told me. I went there later when you're Bart, and she asked Bart to increase the medical fee so she could get more money.
Yeah, for a budget. Okay.
So to advance the story then, did you do anything else?
No, I went to the bridge and talked to some folks there.
Anything good? Did you listen to any hot sounds?
Yeah, I did. Franz is startled because he was too busy listening to hot sounds to notice that Citan and Rico were approaching him. And I listened to some hot sounds. I got a cat noise. I thought you might appreciate that.
I do. I put my own cat in the last episode.
Oh, yeah. That was your own cat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats on your cat's appearance. But most of the crew is just they're complaining about having to, like, how navigating the ocean kind of sucks versus the desert.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd think water would be better than sand to kind of crawl through, but what do I know about navigation, right?
Yeah. And to progress the story, Bart, you have to talk to Bart, and he's sorry for everything.
Yeah. The relationship between Bart and Rico tenses at this point.
Yeah.
Once Rico finds out that Bart was responsible for shooting them down, the scene, it fades to black, but Rico says he does not forgive easily and tackles Bart.
Yeah. He doesn't like that. He also doesn't like that Bart calls him big guy or something. He's like, I have a name, you know.
Yeah.
And we also do learn that this thing is called the Yggdrasil 2.
Yeah.
Citan explains, he already understood what happened, but he's like, yeah, of course he did. These are the fuckers that shot us down. But they're sorry.
I imagine the big guy thing really does hurt Rico because he probably wants to be as human as possible. And when you call him some kind of non-human, like doesn't use his name, uses like a title, it probably upsets him.
Yeah, that's true. Then we fade to Fei and Elly back on the big shell.
Fade to Fei?
Yeah, fade to Fei.
Oh, man, he's trying out there. Fei's out there trying. What's he trying?
He's trying to catch a fish with his bare hands.
That's right.
Elly explains that the Veltal and the Vierge have stuck with us. She almost personifies them.
Yeah.
As if they've kind of lingered with them through force of will.
And she thinks their friends have been buried at sea.
Yeah, it's true.
Elly also says their gears are useless at this point, and I'm like, what? Just get them out. Those things can fly, right? What are you all doing?
I think they can't figure out how to get them out or something. It's weird.
They're armed with weapons.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a plot device, whatever.
Yeah, it's weird. Fei's more concerned about explaining that this fish is not making him look like a dumbass.
He calls the fish a punk, which I think is a super 90s, like punk is no longer a pejorative. That's something you said in the late 90s to try to insult somebody.
Yeah, it's more of a descriptor now.
Yeah. Like now it's like you would actually accept the title of punk.
Yeah, it's a genre of music or person.
Yeah. Back then it was the same thing as dumbass or shithead or someone you're angry with and want to yell at.
Elly definitely does not want him to eat the fish. And
no, she's worried he'll get sick and die if he eats this green. It's not a did it look like a fish to you? It was a green jumping thing. It looked more like a frog. It looked like Gramps.
Fei was trying to eat Gramps. And Elly just didn't want to break it to him.
Gramps stowed away like underneath the wheel.
This is all very strange. I guess maybe the intent of this scene was to get some like cute moments between Fei and Elly, but it more comes off as like awkward and weird.
Yeah, like Fei's rationalization for the whole thing is to say once it's in your stomach, it's all the same.
Yeah.
Which is like some I've been homeschooled response. Like, whoa, that's not how life works, dude. You need to get some other sources on this one.
Yeah, it's like, if you're approached by a woman and she shows interest in you and you're like, would you like to see my shiny Farfetched?
Or
something,
like,
No.
I mean, if you're approaching my wife like that, that's cool because she's into that. But most people, that's not a good way to open up a hit-on conversation.
Yeah,
with
you need to establish common interests before you start delving into them.
Yeah.
And Fei doesn't understand that, which I guess I get because he lived in one town for 3 years and forgot everything else.
So you mentioned the awkwardness and then they're being surrounded by water. Do you think this was some inspiration for the infamous Final Fantasy X ha 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 scene?
No, I did draw, or I didn't draw upon, but I thought about another Final Fantasy reference where you had to, when you were Celis in Final Fantasy VI and you had to feed fast swimming fish to Sid or he died.
Oh yeah, God, I killed Sid.
So
I fed him like dead fish. Can you get dead fish too?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's what I fed. That's inside of Sid now.
So I was half expecting to see a scene where we had to convince Fei not to eat dead fish, or you'd get game over in credits.
Yeah, this game has killed us a couple of times on just random stuff like that twice. So I'm glad that could have been another scenario. But then before they can go to talk about what to do with all this stuff they're eating or not eating, what happens?
The screen pans up and we get to see Deep Space Nine again.
Yeah, it's a force field UFO floating overhead. It blots out the sun in a pretty cool shot.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Elly says, it's Shevat.
And she says, that's its usual latitude.
And Shevat this is the third mention of Shevat. So we are now getting some drips of knowledge about this. And let's talk about this for a second. What do we know about Shevat? We know
Fei's parents were born there.
Fei's parents were born there. It's floating in the sky. The brain guys are concerned with it.
It's probably opposed to Solaris.
Yeah. Fei remembers the conversation that he had with Wiseman yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So good job, dude.
Thanks, Fei. Well, for me and you, that was like a week and a half ago. So, hey, thanks.
True.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very true. Elly says it is a country outside the reach of Solaris.
Yes.
So we've been made to believe that Solaris is sort of the all-encompassing floating Nazi Germany kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
the true power.
Yeah, the true power, but Shevat is outside of that.
Yeah, it's like an impish rogue power. Then Elly confirms that it shares gate technology with Solaris, which I guess explains that pink force field that surrounds it.
Yeah, it says that it usually hovers above the Aquivy Islands.
Yeah, and then that when Fei saw it at a lower altitude, that it was out on a mission.
Yeah, it must have been a mission. I wonder what kind of mission it was on.
I do too.
When did we see that? When we were exiting the Black Moon Forest?
After Ave, I think, when he was looking for Citan when he wandered out into the desert.
Yeah.
Right?
Initializing fake net.
The boys are both wrong. It was after Citan left Dazzle and Fei went to look for him.
Want to feel old? That episode's not out yet.
Ooh, wow. Damn.
Yeah. So then it pans back up to Shevat floating.
Yeah, like when it goes up.
It's awesome.
To,
this is awesome.
The scene transition where it goes from blue sky down, then the camera pans back down, then it's back to Bart at the Yggdrasil.
At some point within this sequence, we are transitioning to the next chapter of the game. I have it as Adrift at Sea. What do you have?
The official localization from the official Blogspot study guide is Drifting for Nowhere.
Drifting for Nowhere. I'll add Japan wins on this one.
Yeah.
So I'll drink to that.
Drifting for Nowhere, you could just put that under, like if I had to get the Joker damage tattoo, it would be that on my forehead instead.
Yeah. People might think it's a Sarah Palin reference, though.
Drifting for Nowhere? What did she say?
Bridge to Nowhere.
Oh, right. Yeah. Of course.
Sorry.
Budgetary plans.
So now we are adrift at sea. Well, we are on Adrift at Sea. We've been adrift at sea for a while. And we pan back down to Bart watching. I guess he's standing on the deck of the Yggdrasil 2. And
he's having a moment.
Yeah, he's having a moment, and he sees Shevat, and he has no idea what the fuck it is, but he doesn't really seem to question it. He's just like, I wonder where Fei is.
Yeah, I bet Bart sees shit like that all the time, right?
Yeah.
But he's missing his friends, Elly and Fei. I guess Citan probably told him they're still alive. Maybe.
I guess, because the scene faded to black. We didn't really see what happened after Rico got pissed.
Yeah.
But Bart thinks he needs to apologize. So
Old Mason forces him to apologize.
Yeah, we gain control of Bart and Bart alone. And did you go back to the bar and talk to Old Mason at this point?
Was this where Old Mason delivers a long rambling speech about how worried he is and the game fast forwards it for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
He goes full blubbering Michael Caine at this point.
Yeah, it's great.
It's wonderful.
It doesn't even really matter what it says, but we're going to rank non-portrait characters, but when we get to the point to where we have to rank
non-playable portrait characters?
Yes.
Yeah.
NPC portraits. Old Mason's winning in my book right now.
I mean, Franz has more to offer me, I think.
Okay, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/retroim. So, also, interestingly enough, if you go to the gear shop here, you can upgrade all the gears, including
finally
the Veltal and the Viers, which we don't actually have. But
yeah,
thank you, game, for letting me take care of this now.
The gear shop is in the gear hanger, which can be kind of easy to overlook if you're not super thorough with your exploration.
Yeah.
The gear shop lady, did you talk to her?
I don't recall.
She thanked Bart and said that her children are safe in Nissan, so I assume we may have seen her there. Was that like the shop lady there that Bart brought over that recognized Bart, maybe?
Maybe so, or maybe some events have transpired.
Picked up some more people.
Yeah.
So Bart has to go make his apology to her.
To her, to him, to them, to
Citan, to Rico.
Yeah. Yeah, Citan says jumping the gun is your bad habit.
Yeah.
And then in parentheses, it floats on the screen, up on the screen, it says Old Mason says the same thing, or Mason says the same thing.
Yeah. But Citan says it couldn't really be helped, tells Bart to calm down and not be so rash, basically. But Citan's like, yeah, it sucked you just wrecked the one-of-a-kind ship that we stole that we could have had for our own purposes, but we're still on my course.
Yeah. There's also something that emerges from this conversation, too, that I find interesting, that Citan and Mason are agreeing upon Bart's habits, and that just reminds me that you can be a good person or a bad person and have a good take.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a good point.
Citan bad, Old Mason good.
Broken clock type thing.
Yeah.
So Bart tells us this Yggdrasil was scrapped after peace talks with Kislev.
Yeah.
It says the crest on the ship is not the royal symbol. And what does Citan say it actually belongs to?
Hey, guess what?
What?
The symbol on here is the Shevat crest.
Oh, shit.
So does that mean that Shevat and Bledovic, did I say it right?
Yeah.
Bledovic shared some sort of relationship in the past.
In the past, definitely. Maybe when Bart's father passed away, that may have dissolved.
Cool.
Bart wants to meet people from Shevat, and Citan says they're closer than he may expect, and then trails off in Citan's usual trail off type of way.
I missed that. Damn it. Okay.
Yeah.
Who? All right. Is old Mason from Shevat?
Right. Somebody's got to be. I mean, closer you think. I see that more as the technology that's powering it.
Yeah. Yeah.
As opposed to an individual person. But I love how Citan, how nonchalant, compared to how mad Rico got, how nonchalant Citan is about just, oh yeah, no, don't worry about the whole almost murdering us thing with your bravado. Again, it's fine. The important thing is that no one, have you ever wrecked a car before?
No.
No, I did once. It wasn't fine, but I got the speech from my grandfather about don't worry, you're not hurt type thing.
Yeah.
So then you get to go apologize to Rico.
Yeah, and Rico, he's just not one to dwell upon the past. This reminds me of how my kids beat the shit out of each other daily and they're best buds.
Oh,
so,
cool. Yeah.
You know, Rico and Bart, I think they're like spiritual brothers eventually, or they can become they're almost the same person.
Well, Rico's at Bart's house now, and he's like wandered into Bart's room, which is the Gears, and he's very impressed with the Gears. He loves this guy's toys, and he's like, "Hey, can I join up?
Yeah,
can we be friends, best buddies."
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Bunk beds, dude. I'm telling you.
He calls him boss.
Yeah. Bart says, "I guess it's all right," which is like, you're a green. I mean, honestly, if a guy stumbles onto your ship and he's got a top 5 gear with him, and he wants to join up, dude, you let this guy in. Fucking Kaiser was almost on my team. Jesus.
Then we fade out, right?
Yeah.
And before we talk about this next section, I need a drink.
Okay.
Because this next section is some stuff.
Stuff happens.
Hold on, let me take that drink I just mentioned.
Okay, I'm going to get a drink too. We're not going to edit this one out. These will be on-camera drinks.
Okay.
ASMR.
Yes, Woodford Reserve. Okay. Faraway Promise is playing. That's the music box track, right?
Right. It's a shot of the deep blue sea.
Yes, the deep blue polygonal sea. And we are witnessing a conversation between Fei and Elly, but we're not seeing the dialogue boxes with portraits. We're just seeing floating text. I think
back and forth.
Elly's text is in the upper right-hand side of the screen, and Fei's is at the lower left-hand portion of the screen. Fei is sad because he indicates that he has a tendency to drift sort of by way of circumstance.
Yeah, kind of like me.
Yeah, it's like most people, but this is very true in the case of Fei. He is drifting by way of whoever is pulling his strings at the time.
He's
mostly
being played like a video game.
Most like he is. Yeah, we are partially responsible for this, but I mostly blame Citan. Are we Citan?
Fei would be happier if we never played this game.
Hold on, are we Citan?
Is he actually the playable character?
Oh, is Citan?
Oh shit! Oh man!
Okay.
Oh god!
No, if that's the case, then we're playing Panzer Dragoon Saga now. No, okay.
Just cut it off. End it.
Podcast is over. Elly's like, no, dog, you help Bart. I guess he's told her about Bart at some point.
Yeah. Well, she's met Bart. Remember in the elevator sequence?
Oh yeah.
So she met Fei's best friend for a week for a second.
You help Bart. You save Kislev. Like that was your doing.
She says he helped Bart, but as far as they know, Bart's dead.
Yeah, that's true.
She helped him die.
Fei continues to self-loathe for a little bit longer. He says that he was drifting until he met you, Elly.
Oh, God.
And,
my dude.
Shut the fuck up, Fei.
Fei has no game.
Play it cool, man.
Yeah.
Just be yourself. Don't be what the movies want you to be, Fei.
That's not real.
Just be Fei. Be yourself, my guy. Elly reassures Fei. I think this is like oh, buddy, she's like, you told me
you're doing good.
You told me to get off Facebook, and I got off Facebook, so it's okay. I mean, that's not how the dialogue is written, but that's how I'm seeing the scene.
That's how it reads. But Fei can be himself if he has retrograde amnesia, right?
Hey, that's the name of the show.
Well, I mean, don't you retain some of your personality?
I don't know. I don't even think that shit's real.
No, it's real. Yeah, if you Google retrograde amnesia, which I do sometimes,
Patreon.com/retroam.
Yeah, no, if you Google it, you can find people like I haven't watched it, but I've saved it. There's a YouTube channel of a guy that had it that talks about living with it, which made me think that maybe the title of this podcast is slightly insensitive to those people.
Yeah, well, maybe there's also a YouTube channel of a guy eating rat turds.
Yeah,
okay,
that's true.
So.
No, I'm sorry, I say that in jest, but I think that like Fei, like most of his I think his personality is sort of an imprint. Like you are who you are, right? And Fei doesn't quite understand. Maybe he doesn't have as much experience to draw upon in this case.
Yeah, she's been through some more shit that she remembers at least.
Yeah, I mean, she's been through Jugend.
Yeah.
And she's been through
peer harassment.
Yeah, he's been painting in his basement.
Yeah, with a maid. But he says he's done everything because he wanted to be needed, which is a feeling of what can happen if you let other people direct your life if you're a pleaser and always try to please them.
Yeah, that's true. And Elly says something that I think is actually good advice. She says it's okay not to feel whole. And
that's a sober thought.
It is a sobering thought. And this also, I think, has, maybe this is not explicitly a reference, but it kind of reminds me of our conversation that we had at the church in Nissan about like the opposing masculine, feminine
the
forces, the aeons. And if Fei and Elly end up being those two forces, this is sort of a little bit of an inkling of that relationship beginning to blossom here, as awkward as it may be.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess most relationships start from an awkward position, and this one especially, because you're on a fucking floating sea platform. I found it funny too that Elly says that she will not go back to her squad, which squad in 2019 is used in like a squad goals kind of way.
It's way different.
Yeah, it's different. So I think that made that line funny in 2019.
But I think the implication that she thinks she can just drop it and go back to Solaris and be like, yo, what's up, is a little...
Yeah. Fei's like, man, I'm not sure. I mean, these people, they're kind of Nazis, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we get a lot of Nazi vibes from Solaris.
I'm betting her gear is property of Solaris as well.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, do we have tracking technology?
Gotta be. There has to be LoJack on those things.
GPS. I mean, I can turn my 2019 Ford Edge on with my phone now. So, I mean, I'm sure the gears can
I rented one of
that.
those on vacation. Nice car.
Oh, yeah, they're nice. Yeah. Escape, actually. I have both. I'm really rich. I have two Fords.
Cool.
Okay, so
she says...
Fei's like, they're going to kill you if you go back.
Yeah.
They're Nazis. But yeah.
Elly says that he has value. She wanted to do something and not nothing, which is why she followed Fei.
Yeah.
It's like, I think she's going to frame that as, look, you convinced me to come with you.
You have value.
Yeah. I believe in you, Fei.
I think those lines are a little bit more, I guess, pronounced and a little bit more heartfelt than her, like, all buddy moments that she had 5 minutes ago, where she's like, okay, bud.
She said, everybody wants to be needed at times. It's fine. Yeah. Please stop moping. But I thought this is constructed as them trying to bond with each other, I guess, a little bit by sharing intimate moments and vulnerability.
Yeah. It's fine. I'm beginning to appreciate Elly a little bit. She's becoming more of a character rather than just
more of a dimension.
Yeah. Than just, because I think previously Elly was, her existence was only whatever Fei was projecting as her existence.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe now she's developing a little bit of her own personality a little bit.
She's not just a painting.
Yeah. Then I think we have the most unnecessary flashback in the game to this point, when it flashes back to like yesterday when they were trying to catch fish.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see that. I saw this in my head as the next day. I didn't see it as a flashback. Okay.
Well, she's like, don't you remember when you ate that ration or something?
Oh, yeah, the ration.
And then it flashes back to Elly, like she's telling Fei not to eat such a gross-looking animal.
Because he caught that animal, apparently.
Yeah.
And what does he do after he catches it?
Well, first he equates the taste to Citan's cooking, which I'm always for, like Citan shade.
Yeah, any kind of Citan slander. Although you would think that Fei would eat, like Yui would have done most of the cooking there based on the heteronormative relationship that Citan was definitely in.
Yeah. Elly gives him, like, I guess they have found some like military rations or something. And
she had them, I guess. There's like a first aid kit in her gear that has that stuff in it, is my guess.
Yes, and she gives them like they talk about how it's dry and crumbly.
Dude, have you ever eaten an MRA?
No.
I worked with a guy that was in the military and would bring them just for lunch, and it was the most harrowing shit. Like, he brought corn one day, and he just ripped open this package of corn that was good until 2028 or some shit. And it was...
Well...
I guess it was corn. I don't know.
At least he didn't eat them in the middle of a battle like Solid Snake.
Meal ready to eat.
Shit. This whole dry and crumbly conversation is weird and out of place, and maybe it's supposed to be heartfelt, or maybe it's supposed to be symbolic of something, but I couldn't quite figure it out.
My soul's dry and crumbly.
They have several more unnecessary moments.
Yeah, they're kind of overdoing it here a little bit. It's like you could have pulled back a bit I mean, Xenogears isn't really a game to know restraint at any point, so it makes sense they kind of drag it on a little.
I will give this scene some credit, though. During the conversation, they cut from a couple different angles. They show like a long, wide angle of the scene, and then like a sort of a peering above angle. And I think the point of this scene is just to begin to plant the seeds of that whole like two aeons becoming one.
Oh yeah,
one thing again, like the whole like Christ and Sophia Gnostic metaphor that we talked about way back on episode 9 or 10 or whatever.
Good reference.
I think this is the first true embodiment of that. We know Fei's special. We know Elly is special. They're sort of beginning to work out their feelings and get to the point to where they become the whole aeon.
I understand this passes for a cutscene, but what you said about camera cuts is kind of one of the reasons why I'm not especially in love with Bethesda RPG. And there's a lot of reasons I don't like Bethesda RPGs, but for every conversation, you're just locked in face to face with somebody while they occasionally move their eyes and kind of shift back and forth. I mean, Mass Effect did that too, I guess. But again, it was some really advanced stuff to be doing this stuff with the camera as this was happening.
How many more of these, like, to your recollection, how many more of these like heartfelt Fei and Elly scenes do we have? Because I feel like there might be like 7 or 8 more throughout the rest of this game.
There could be a lot more. It's funny you use the term heartfelt. Xenoblade Chronicles X had special character sequences called Heart to Hearts that you went to specific locations and had people talk to specific people at specific locations on the map to develop different characters. That game had a huge Chrono Cross like roster that you could do that with people.
I'm new to this whole like JRPG Twitterverse now that we have this account that follows a lot of the people that are fans of those games.
Yeah.
Now, like you saying that, it makes me realize why there seems to be such a big crossover between the Xenoblade or the Xeno fandom and the Fire Emblem fandom.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of character relationship stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, plus those games are fucking good by all accounts.
Yeah.
But
they're scatterbrained, but they're good.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's great. At that point, I think the scene fades to black and we go to the next morning, and that's when the next chapter starts. So we are done here, right?
We're done here, but it loads a very beloved track as it shows us what's on screen.
So thanks for joining me tonight, Eric. Thank you to the listener for listening to us again for, 18 weeks now. 18 weeks? Wow. It's been a long time. It's 2020 right now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it is.
We actually just talked about it being 2019, but when this podcast comes out, it will be 2020.
Shit.
So welcome to 2020. Eric.
Chris.
Follow us on Twitter at RetroAmnesiaPod. Send us an email, retrogradeamnesiapodcast@gmail.com, or visit us on Patreon, patreon.com/retroam. Thanks, Mark
Shepard,
for the intro track. Subscribe to this podcast. Until next time.
Yes, we will kill God.
And now, you may go back to sleep.
After this, it cuts to our second non-sequitur sequence.
Did you just say non-sequitur? I need to take a minute to get ready, because this fucking shit's a lot.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Kane here. Just wanted to say some cuss words. Shit, ass, barf, fuck. Please subscribe to the Retrograde Amnesia Patreon.
Why is Kane here?
Now, would you like to hear some hot sounds that I have recorded?
I'm just going to play the guitar riff after the first one. I'm not going to answer it. You're fucked.
Shit.
Sound like an idiot.
Okay, your line here is yes. Got it?
Sure.
Oh, man.
So that...
yeah. Wait, what year did Half-Baked come out?
98.
God, that was... wow, okay, 98. Well, right in line with what we're talking about. Then we fade out, right?